he must let the House know. He must be here for us to make our input. We should not debate until he appears before us before we start the debate.
Tonight, attempts by the minority in Parliament to arrest the debate of the 2023 budget over the absence of the Finance Minister fails as Speaker grants Ken Ofori-Atta a special dispensation.
You have raised a very important matter, but it is all for the good of the country that he is not present here. And we have his deputies who are to assist him present in the House.
We'll hear from the majority leader and his 29 MPs rejecting claims they have abandoned their own budget.
That there's hopelessness in the system. Speaker, no wonder that the majority members of Parliament have abandoned their own budget.
You're totally wrong. But fortunately, the two deputy ministers for finance are even here.
My name is Ernest Manu, and Top Story is brought to you by Vodafone. Further together. Now, tonight, the debate on the 2023 budget statement delivered to Parliament last Thursday kicked off in a fierce manner, with MPs from both sides of the House forcefully making a presentation. We'll hear and get into the submission shortly. But even before the first argument was made, the minority attempted to arrest the debate, insisting Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta should be present in the House. Listen to the minority MPs, led by their Deputy Chief Whip, raise the issue on the floor of the House.
The Finance Minister can lay the budget on the floor on behalf of the President. The House too is prepared to make our input for the Finance Minister to convey it to the President. So you can't just come and move the motion and you are not there. Remember, we are in a critical stage as a country. And so, Speaker, it is only appropriate that the Finance Minister must be here. The Speaker, if he's not ready to do the job, he must let the House know. He must be here for us to make our input.
The matter raised by the Deputy Whip on the minority side is very grave, Mr. Speaker. This attitude is becoming too much. Mr. Speaker, the practice where ministers of finance present budget and fail to collect input should not be entertained. It is becoming too much from this finance minister. The Speaker, didn't start from today. The Speaker, if we have our way, we should not debate until he appears before us before we start the debate. The Speaker, this means that whatever you say, Mr. Speaker, the minister is not going to pick it up. We cannot accept this. He should come before we start the debate.
In addition to the absence of the finance minister, it's also the absence of the majority members. Mr. Speaker, there are only 21. Meanwhile, the title of the budget is in Kabum. How can we do in Kabum debate when we are more than the people we are supposed to in Kabum?
So those are the minority MPs there raising the issue about the absence of Ken Ofori-Atta in the House and also the absence of the majority MPs themselves. But the majority leader, Osache Mensah, challenged the position and gave some explanation as to why the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, could not be on the floor to listen and participate in the debate.
First of all, the Constitution does not provide anywhere that the budget statement and economic policy should be submitted to this House by the Minister of Finance. You are totally wrong. The Constitution does not say that anywhere. You are aware that when we went to Ho, the Minister indicated, for good reason, that he was going to be absent from the country. Mr. Speaker, you are aware of the reason that he gave. And so, but fortunately, the two deputy ministers for finance are even here.
So that's the majority leader, Osache Mensah, there challenging the position of the minority. So the Speaker ruled. He gave some special dispensation to Ken Ofori-Atta, but expressed concern about the absence of the Finance Minister and going forward, what will be the case? Listen.
Before we conclude the debate, so please, you have raised a very important matter, but it is all for the good of the country that he is not present here. And we have his deputies who are to assist him present in the House. So we can start the debate today. But it is proper that notice be given to him, because you did not only talk about today, You said that has been his attitude. And I think that should be passed on to him. At any time he presents the budget, he should always be present to listen. I witnessed a number of ministers responsible for finance present budgets and stay with the House, listened and took copious notes, and at the end of the day concluded very well. You have to carry the House along, and with the House, the people, to be able to successfully implement a budget. If you don't carry the people along with you, you cannot implement any policy. You need the buy-in of the people, and you need the buy-in of the House. So the issue raised is important and should not be swept under the carpet.
Speaker of Parliament, Alban Badminda. Let's go live to Parliament now and speak to our correspondent, Kweku Asante, who joins us. Kweku, so the Speaker ruled on this issue and the debate started, but the side of the minority still raised issues with the numbers on the majority side. How many of them were present on the floor when the debate started?
Indeed, when the debate started, there were less than 30 majority MPs on the floor. You heard that from Roxy Nelson, that before say he saw about 21 or so. By my count, there were just a little under 30 of the NPP MPs who were there. On the front, there was only the majority leader, or Mensah, who was there. Just behind him, we had the chairman of the finance committee, we also had attached Honorable Kate Amon as well, and a few other backbenchers in the House. There were not up to 30 MPs on the floor when the debate started.
You mentioned that Kweku Kwatin, the chairman of the finance committee, was in the House. But it's interesting to know that he wasn't the one who led the debate on their side. Is that so?
Yes, indeed. And what the practice in Parliament is that when the minister moves the motion for the passage of the budget, the person who does the secondment is usually the chairman of the finance committee. In this case, Kweku Kwatin, the MP for Boase West. He was on the floor today, and the expectation was that he was the one who would do the secondment. Indeed, the Speaker actually called out before the majority leader said that was not the plan, and that this time around, the minister in charge of state enterprises was the one who was going to do the secondment and advance the debate. So he did second the budget, the motion that had been moved, made some comments of his own before other NDP MPs came in. We also heard from people like the MP for Inshiaso, who advanced the argument for this. Normally, the usual suspects of the people who will be debating on the majority side, especially since President Before came in the office, would have been the Honorable Kojo Ponkoma. He was not on the floor today. Rukwati, like I've mentioned, he was there, but he did not take part in the debate that has started today. The usual faces who will be leading the case for the budget were not there. So today we heard from the two deputy finance ministers, Abner Siasare and also John Kuma, and then we heard from the member of parliament for Inshiaso and the chairman of the Agri Committee, John Frimpong, and then one other backbench before the debate concluded on the majority side for today.
So Kweku, you're saying not only were the usual suspects not present in the House, but also the chairman of the Finance Committee, who did not second the motion, which is quite unprecedented, also did not take part in the debate.
Right, and I should say that this is just a first part of the debate, and normally the ranking members, the chairpersons of the committee are the ones who engage in the debate on the first day. Tomorrow they will go sector by sector, they will go into roads and transport, they will go into agri. But the first day is usually reserved for the high-ranking members of parliament on both the minority and majority side. We need to look at the number of people who did the debate for the minority. It started with a ranking member on the roads, on the finance committee, Dr. Kisela Tofote. Before we heard from ranking member on the Mines and Equity Committee, John Jinapo, heard from deputy ranking member on the finance committee, in the person of Honorable Isaac Adongo, and then we also heard from ranking member on the Privileges Committee, Rick Tegan. So the minority presented sort of their front bench to lead their case on the first day of the budget debate, but that wasn't the case on the other side. It is not clear what exactly the strategy was for the majority, which culminated in the kind of person who debated the budget today.
And we'll be getting into that shortly. We'll be speaking to the Nshayasu MP who led his side of the House for that debate, and also to Ato Forson, who is the ranking member on the Finance Committee of Parliament. But let's get into the debate, the substance of the argument. What really was the position generally of the minority?
So, leading the minority, ranking member of the Finance Committee, Dr. Ato Forson, said that it was only the victory of Black Stars from yesterday that has signaled some hope in the country. And at his checks around, everything shows that the people are hopeless about the situation. This budget offers nothing in terms of changing the current course of things.
So yesterday, the Black Stars of Ghana has given some temporary hope to a very hopeless situation. Mr. Speaker, the mood in this House could tell you how hopeless the nation has become. If you go out there, the mood on the street of Ghana will tell you that there's hopelessness in the system. Speaker, no wonder that the majority members of Parliament have abandoned their own budget. No wonder. No wonder. The Speaker, the situation out there calls for urgent action. But unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, we are not seeing that. Speaker, first of all, inflation that started in the course of the year at 13% is currently at 44%. So, Speaker, this simply means that within 10 months, inflation, prices of goods and services has increased by 295 times. The cedi in the course of the year, you could buy Ghana cedi, $1 with 6.5 cedis in the course of the year, beginning of the year. So, Speaker, today, you will struggle to use $1 to buy $1. You will need 15 cedis to buy one.
That is the ranking member on the Finance Committee of Parliament, Ato Forson, leading his side in the debate. Kweku is still with me on the line. Kweku, what's the position of the majority side as far as the issues raised are concerned?
So indeed, Dr. Ato Forson went on to list what he said were the 23 taxes that have been imposed by government in this 2023 budget. It was then that Deputy Finance Minister Abinal Seasari came in to say that these tax measures are crucial to turn the tide, to put the economy on a stronger pedestal, and so urged the minority MPs not to take the same stance they took with the e-levy last year, but then come around and support these new revenue measures to change the tide.
Apologies there, we couldn't bring you that sound of the Deputy Finance Minister Abinal Seasari. But Kweku, thank you very much for bringing us those details from Parliament. Let's go back to the phone lines now. We're joined by Ato Forson, who is ranking member, Finance Committee. We're also joined by Stephen Amwa, who is also a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament. Let me start with you, Mr. Ato Forson. You raised issue with the absence of the Finance Minister, but really, that has not been an issue in the past. And in many budget debates, we do not see the Finance Ministers on the floor. Why did it matter today?
Thank you very much. First, let me say that it is not true that has not been the case. In fact, it is only until this administration that you don't see finance ministers sitting at budget debate. Ministers of finance have a responsibility to listen to opposing views, sometimes dissenting views, for a simple reason that if you want to improve your policy, it is only right to go to Parliament where you are asking them to approve, to solicit views from their side, and obviously to listen and where possible make some changes. But our minister responsible for finance since 2017 has not been taking Parliament seriously. My brother, I have worked under Minister Tepe for 4 years. When Minister Tepe was the finance minister of Ghana, he was even more punctual in Parliament than me, who happens to be a member of Parliament. He often goes for budget hearings, sit at budget debates, take note and improve policies. Because obviously, he cannot claim to be the only one with knowledge on the economy. But unlike him, this very minister does not attend parliamentary debates. No wonder the country is where we are, because obviously he's failing to take important views from minority and even his own side in accounting for some of the policies that they take. So today we felt that there was a need for us to raise the issue. Yes, the speaker and the leadership came in to say that he took permission for not coming. But for us, it's not about the permission. You need to decide which of these two are important to you. Is it the budget that you have presented or the traveling that you have to attend? So the minister chose that over the budget policy, and we felt that there was the need for us to put it on record that it's becoming too much, and the minister must put a stop to it. If indeed he wants us to support him, he has to get involved, and then obviously to listen to our views and improve the budget.
Were you provided with details of his travel activities, especially because the speaker did indicate that this was very important for the nation, the interest of the nation?
I was not provided. I do not have the full details of what he's out there to do. All what I heard is that he's all the way in Germany. I don't know what is happening in Germany that he's going there. I don't know the details, so it's difficult for me to speculate. But regardless, this is an important budget for a country that is in severe crisis. If this budget is a budget that seeks to solve the problem, the minister needs to prioritize it and sit in parliament, get members of parliament along, and ensure the budget is passed. But unfortunately, we do not see that kind of commitment from him. No wonder his own side are not active on the very budget that we are talking about. So for us, it shows clearly, if the minister himself doesn't want to be there to get his side to support the budget, how do you expect me as a minority MP to be the one to do all the job for them? They themselves doesn't want it. He has abandoned his own budget. He has chosen his budget over the travel, and today he has traveled. I don't know the details of what he's doing, but I cannot believe that whatever he's doing in Germany can be better than the budget statement that he needs so badly, his own words.
And the issues you raised today generated some concern for the majority MPs, especially the Deputy Finance Minister, who is urging you to support the budget. Knowing what happened last year when the budget, debate started, leading to the controversy surrounding the e-levy, there are fears that your side may take an entrenched position going forward. Is this something that you are willing to let go and collaborate with the other side to have the budget passed?
What I can say is that we are ready to do anything in the interest of the country. So therefore, if we determine that any tax policy is not in the interest of the country, we will oppose it. If it's indeed in the interest of the country, we'll support it. We have started the process of assessing the tax policies carefully. I can assure you that any of the policies that we think is right, we'll let it go. But if any of them is detrimental to the benefit of the ordinary Ghanaian, and obviously are going to go against the economic growth of this country, don't be surprised that we in the minority will oppose it with full strength and all the vigor in us, because we believe it's not in the interest of the country.
Can you hold the line for me, Mr. Forson? We're joined by Stephen Amwa, who is also a member of your committee. Mr. Amwa, you led your side on the debate today, but your colleagues on the other side are raising issues. First of all, let me ask you, though, did you know that you were going to lead the debate on the floor today?
I'm surprised. Anyway, my regards to our listeners. I don't think I led the debate on our side. We have a number of us that spoke. Honorable Abna, Honorable John Kuma, two other honorables spoke. I think we have about 7 on our side, and they also had 7 on their side. So I don't know whether maybe what you describe as I led is different from what I understand in the context. So I'm not arguing with you, but respectfully, I did not lead, except that I spoke on behalf of one of the majority MPs that spoke to the issues with respect to the budget. That one I can say that.
Yeah. And the issue of the numbers, isn't that of concern to your side? Just less than 30 of you were on the floor to debate such a crucial budget, a budget that is touted as one that will unite the country and also turn our fortunes around. Just to see only 29 MPs on the majority side. Disappointing, wouldn't you say?
In the first place, I wouldn't know the reason. Secondly, Honorable Atuforsen is aware that many a time, most of these MPs might have also been in their rooms watching critically and making notes. He knows. So it is possible that some of them might have been in their rooms, and some of them, when there's a crucial issue to be decided on, then they rush to the Parliament where we are having the debate. So I can't speak to it, but of course, he knows that
the debate is on the floor. The debate is on the floor of the House.
Boss,
how
I
are
am
your
thinking
colleagues
we can
monitoring
really
from
use
their
the
rooms?
time to concentrate on the financial economics and the importance of what we've done going forward. How are we going to reconsolidate our fiscal space and stuff like that?
Mr. Mo, we are going to get into that shortly, but you did hear Kizala Atuforsen say they are going to oppose anything they do not find favorable. And you need the numbers. It's a numbers game. If you do not have the numbers from your side, and we may see what happened late last year to the beginning of this year with the e-levy, which is why we are interested in the numbers that participate in this debate.
I'm not saying the numbers are not important. Trust me. The time that they will try to oppose whatever decision they think, especially with respect to tax policies that we have actually adjusted, we will be in our numbers. We're having the numbers to actually make sure that majority side, we are there, we are in-house to support our government policies and move this country forward. I think it's very important. I'm not saying that it's not important, but I'm saying that we are using all the precious time debating these things. But there are a lot of financial economic issues that we need to explain to Ghanaians. We need to analyze and see that, yes, this budget is going to give us the hope, the unity that we need, the consolidation, the stabilization of our economy, and to ensure growth. I mean, this budget is going to ensure that we are going to reduce our debt to GDP. We are cutting down discretionary spending items in our budget. And this is exactly what we are doing. And I think in times such as this, anybody that will think of we not increasing any opportunity that will help us generate a lot of revenue and not rely so much on debt, I'll be surprised.
But as many as 20
a good finance person, he knows that one of the best alternatives now to use is to make sure that we find ways to increase our revenue to make sure that the debt to GDP will be reduced to the level that this country can. But Mr.
Mao, we have as many as 23 taxes. Can we tax our way out of this crisis, tax our way into prosperity?
What is tax away? These things, brother, you don't speak to it like that. You see, it's just like even normal physiology that we study. If you have headache, they check your temperature and it's high. The doctor that is finding solution after the diagnosis know what to apply. This is the case that we have gone through impaired productivity for over 22 months. This is the case that the global economies that we depend on are suffering. This is the case that because of what we went through, we have had an unwanted debt to GDP ratio of about 80%. It has affected our credit rating. And it's not only us. I was in South Africa this weekend, all over the world. The best solution to take now is not to increase your debt to destroy your economy, but you find ways to increase your revenue generation and stabilize this country. Atuforsen knows this. This is the best policy we are taking. And among other things, you cut down your expenditure items that do not impact your GDP in a larger sense, or that does not have strong positively correlated or correlation, with your economic growth. And this is what this government is doing. So I agree that the people will not be happy with the fact that maybe we are increasing tax components or other things. But this is the best solution now. If anybody that wants this country to move forward in the interest of tomorrow's generation or posterity, or in the larger interest of this country, will attest to the fact that the best macroeconomic policy that you have to take today to consolidate your fiscal space and rebuild this country again, restore this economy and move it forward to benefit this country and build a very sustainable and resilient economic platform and framework. Atuforsen knows. He knows what I'm talking about. That is the best solution now, at least in the short term and medium term. Then moving into long term, we can adjust by taxes are calibrating in nature. You remember the same government 2017, we had to reduce or entirely, we had to take away about 17 tax components together. You remember? Honorable Atofo that between 2014 and 2016, taxes they increased, that tax components or they introduced together was about 26%. So these things are done depending on the timing and the need that you have to, what do you have to introduce to ensure that the dying situation of this country's economy, which is as a result of the globe, can be restored. This is one of the best ways. Whatever they want to do, I am surprised. And when it happen, it will not even help. But in the name of politics, they will try to oppose almost everything that we want to do. There are a lot of good things in the budget. Of course, there is going to be some sort of pain because people don't want to pay taxes. What I think we need to push for is once the taxes are collected, it has to be put, or they have to be put to good use, productive use to benefit the masses and to create the needed equilibrium in terms of access to, the citizens or individuals' utility in the country, in the area of water, education, health, good roads, and this. We need all these things.
But Mr. Mwa, it's also about the weight of the savings you're making. Let me quickly pick the thoughts of Dr. Atuforsen on this. Dr. Atuforsen, we heard from the Deputy Finance Minister, John Kumah, who indicated that the Office of Government Machinery is reducing its expenditure from over 3 billion to about 1.2 billion. That is significant, isn't it?
Of course, that's what I was saying. This is for Dr. Atuforsen. When it comes to
Mr. Mwa, this is for Dr. Atuforsen.
It is a hoax because the government, once again, is engaging in creative accounting. All what the government has done is that they've moved free senior high school budget from the Office of Government Machinery to the Ministry of Ministry of Education. They have also moved Agenda 111 budget from the Office of Government Machinery to the Ministry of Health. They again moved the National Cathedral budget to the Ministry of Ministry of Tourism, and then went ahead to move another budget called the National Identification Authority that used to sit at the presidency to the Ministry of Interior. So it is not true that the budget has been reduced. It is not the case. They've only sent it there, yet the control of that amount is sitting at the office of the president. So you create impression that somebody there is, that money has come down. When it hasn't come down, the money is still going up. And again, the control is still at the office of the president. This is something that we've been talking about over the years. But most importantly, let us advert our minds to the fact that in this budget, government has increased public sector expenditure by 82 billion Ghana cedis. So, Honorable Amwa is very wrong, woefully wrong. Maybe he has not read the budget well, to say and suggest that government is directing expenditure to growth areas and it is also coming down.
Well, this has just started, Dr. Atuforsen, and I'm grateful for your time. And earlier we heard from Stephen Amwa, who is also a member of the Finance Committee. The debate has just started. We'll be monitoring this very closely on the floor of the House, especially the numbers on the side of the majority. That's it for Top Story, brought to you by Vodafone. Further together, Newsnight with Evans and MFI is up next. Stay tuned in.